Hi YouTube family, it's Euphemie M back again. And for those of you who are subscribers to my channel or who may have caught my latest video, last night I did a video on my current foundation routine. And I promised you guys that I would come back and do a video on my highlighting and contouring routine. So I didn't do it last night. I got tired and I got to watching a movie. So I am back today to fulfill that promise. So right now I've already done my foundation the same way that I showed in the video. My eyebrows are done. I did do a little highlighting under my eye, but I have not put anything on there to set that. So my first step is I'm going to be using a setting powder. This is a new powder that I just got the other day. I heard so much about it, and it's called the Airspun loose powder, and a lot of makeup artists and people on YouTube have raved about it, so I decided I would try it. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to pat that in the areas where I put concealer. I put some on my forehead as well. This is a beautiful powder. So far I like it. It has a powdery smell to it. It's very soft, kind of floral. Some people say it smells like an old lady, but I don't know. I'm not a believer that scents smell like old people. I think there are just some classic scents, and there are these new scents that smell like candy and food, and I don't really know who wants to smell like candy and food. But anyway, so I'm going to let that sit on my face, and what some people call this is baking, and all it is it's just letting the powder sort of melt into your skin and making sure that it's locked in so that your foundation and those things that you've put on that are cream or liquid based don't move around. So I'm going to leave that on. Now, I have another video that I filmed a couple weeks ago with my sisters-in-law, and it showcases bronzers and highlighters. So the highlighter and the bronzer I'm going to use today, these aren't the only ones I have, and these aren't the only kinds I'm recommending. You use what works for you, but this is just what I'm using today. I'm really focusing more on the technique. So this isn't so much about the product, but just the technique, because if your technique is right, then you can probably make any product work for you. So today I'm actually using an eyeshadow palette from AVON that I got a long time ago, but there's a couple browns in here that I think are perfect for contouring. When you're contouring, you want to be careful, and you want to pick a brown that is a cool based brown. You don't want a brown that's orange or reddish, because it's not going to come off right. It's going to look misplaced, and it's not going to bring the right kind of depth that you're going for. So you want a cool toned brown. So this brown here and this brown here, to me, are good browns for me for contouring. So I'm gonna go with the lighter one, and because it's in a little bitty, rectangle like this, I'm not gonna use a brush. I'm just gonna use my finger, and as you can see, I put some on my finger. What you want to do is you want to make a line directly beneath your cheekbone. So this side of my cheekbone is pretty, you can kind of see that. So I'm gonna just draw like a line there. So I've got one line there, and then I'm going to do the other side. You don't want to go too far down. Okay, so I'm going to get a little closer so that you guys can see where I put that. Okay. The other places you want to contour is here. It makes the jaw area just appear a little more angled and balanced out, so you put it there. And then I don't have a big forehead or a large forehead, so I don't feel the need to try to minimize that. If you do have a larger forehead, then you're going to want to place it all around here to minimize and give the illusion of a smaller forehead. I'm not trying to do that, so I'm just going to place it for me right here. And this is really just to give color and depth to my face, because when you put foundation and powder and all of that, it can sometimes take away the natural coloring in your skin, that natural light and darker places in your skin. And so you end up looking just kind of blunt like one, and you know, no one's face is one color, honestly. So after I do that, I'm going to blend that in. You want to use a brush, something like this. It doesn't necessarily have to have an angle, but you want it to be soft and somewhat small like this so that you can get into that area. And the key here is to make sure you're blending up. You don't want to blend down. I've got some powder here. So you want to blend up. You want to get that area right here where you put some of the shadow. And don't be afraid to use things that are not traditionally intended for whatever it is you're doing. Powder is powder, in my opinion. When it comes to like blushes and eyeshadows, they can be used interchangeably, and just about finding the right color. If you see something that's the right color, don't worry so much about, oh, this is blush, I can't use this for, you know, a contour or for a cheek color. Don't get locked into that. So if you can kind of see, that area is just lightly contoured, and that's a really good everyday kind of contour. Now, I could also do the sides of my nose. I'm happy with my nose. I don't feel the need to make it look smaller or anything, but if you did, what you would do is you would take a small brush, you would dip it into the contour color, and you would go right along the edges of your nose and the tip of your nose very lightly, and then you would blend that out. Okay, the next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to apply a little bit of cheek color, and today I'm just going to use Cinnamon by NYX. I'm going to put that on that same brush, tap it off, and then you just want to hit the apples of your cheeks and into the temple area lightly. This isn't supposed to be a lot of heavy pressure. I do like blush. I do like to wear a lot of blush. I think it looks pretty on me to have a rosy cheek. Some people like to keep the blush to a minimum, so it just depends on what your own preference is. A little tip for women, especially as you get older, is you don't want to go too far in with blush. You want to make sure you keep it here and then going up, because the purpose of blush is to lift the cheekbones and to make the cheekbones look higher. So if you go too far down, you're going to actually give the illusion of drooping cheeks, and that's not the goal with blush. Blush is to make you look rosy and youthful. Okay, so we have that. Okay, now the last thing I'm going to do is I'm going to use a little bit of highlighter, and what I'm about to show you I don't do every day, but I'm just showing you your options. You can either use a powder-based highlighter. Today I'm actually going to use an eyeshadow, because these are really beautiful shimmery colors, and one is kind of golden, one is medium, and one is sort of a really white champagne. And either of these could serve as a really good highlight, even though it's an eyeshadow. Normally, I would just go with something powder-based, and you can use anyone. You can use the Balm, Mary Luminizer. You can use any of the ones that I've showed you in my highlight video. If you want to kick it up a notch, though, what you can do is you can layer a liquid highlighter on your cheeks first, and then go over it with a powder. So I'm going to do that just to show you guys the effect. So what I'm using here is Origin's Halo Effect, and this is in the color, I don't know, actually, it's just called Halo Effect. It's an instant illuminator. So it's kind of a pinky, champagne-y toned liquid highlighter. It's very beautiful, and it lasts you for, I've had this for years and years, and I can't seem to use it all. So what you want to do is you want to just dab in the areas you want to highlight, and where you want to highlight is where the sun would naturally hit your face and sort of reflect off of your face. So that would be right above your cheekbones, down the bridge of your nose, right down here, and right above here. Oh, you know what I forgot? Forgot to kind of brush off some of that powder, so sorry, forgot to do that. It's not going to mess anything up, but don't forget to brush that powder off that you put on. Okay, so I'm going to sort of rub that in. And you can already see the effect that you get from that. This stuff really does work. I'm going to put a little more here. A little more here. And set that down. And then now we're going to go into our highlights. So I'm going to use, let's see here. I think I'm going to use the one that's a little more golden. So this one. So I'm going to take my brush and I'm going to kind of squeeze it so that it has a point so that I can really be precise in the placement. And I've got some on there. Be careful not to get into the other eyeshadow. And I'm going to dab. Okay, and if you can see what that does, this works honestly just as well as a high-end highlight. Do the tip of your nose, down the bridge of your nose, and since this is a powder based, it is setting the liquid that you just put on. Whoops, wrong one. You can kind of blend all of that together. Okay, and there you have it. So guys, that's pretty much my basic routine for highlighting and contouring. And I hope this is helpful to you guys. Hopefully the video was not too long. It's just a lot of details, but thank you so much for your time. Thanks for watching. Please like and subscribe, and please leave me feedback in the spirit of love. And I'm open to any feedback as long as it's coming from a loving place. So like and subscribe, and I will see you in my next video. Bye.